Good morning, folks. How you doing? It's wee Paddy from across the Shuck, and you're very welcome back to the channel. And I'm going to do a wee video today on collections and how I build up my collections. And you've heard my rule: when you've got 5 of one brand, it's a collection. That's where I have that. And I love to have little blocks of 5. Maybe not my most popular knives, but knives that I do really enjoy, and I can pick 5 that I really want to have in my collection. And that's where I've got that 5 from. And in any given collection, they can go up and down. But there's a few collections like my GEC, my A.Wrights, case knives, rough rider knives. They're ones that have got sort of more than 10 in each collection, because they're knives that I like and they're knives that I use. And that's very important, because probably, I'm just guessing, there are a lot of people like me. I have a lot of high-end knives, but I don't use them anywhere near as much as I use my lesser priced knives. Over the years, I've found out that once I get a brand that I really like, i.e. A.Wright, they're knives, they're work knives. They're knives that you can pick up and use at any time, and you're not going to worry if you damage them or you do something like that to them, because that's the kind of knives they are. They're work knives. You can repair them. They don't have to look ultra pretty all the time. But I mean, I know there's some people that like to keep them nice and pristine, but I just use them and sharpen them. I don't do any fancy sharpening on them. I don't put mirror edges on them. I just sharpen them. Recently, what did I do? Oh, where's the one I just got? Yeah, this one. Sorry. I just got this one recently. This is on Hiennie at the minute. This is their exclusive. It's got red liners on it. It's got ebony. It's got a beautiful sheepsfoot blade and carbon steel. Most of them are going to have carbon steel. In fact, that's what I prefer. I just roughly sharpened this yesterday, and I used a diamond stone, which is probably not the best, because carbon steel is a softer steel, and diamond steel can cut right through it. But I mean, I've been sharpening for quite a number of years now by hand, and I can get a good edge. I just be very careful that I don't lean too heavy in any one position, because you can get a bit of a wave. And that happens to me sometimes. But because of the price range these knives are in, all these centre knives are around the £40 mark. And some are cheaper if you buy them on the second-hand market. You can get them for 15, 20. That's the sort of knives that I'll pick up and use most day. I'll carry a nice one, which my EDC knife is in here. My tactile turn Bayer is in every day. And then I usually carry a knife that I'm going to use for most jobs during the day. So, I mean, this is beautiful. I mean, this on Hiennie at the minute, special edition with the red liners, exclusive to them. And hopefully they're going to do more of them, because I think the little pop of colour really looks nice on what are basically working knives. But yes, I do like a knife that's got a little pop of colour. It gives it a bit of personality. I like that. But I used a 600 grit yesterday and a strop. That's all I used. The knife was pretty blunt, and I used a 600 grit and a strop. And I now have a knife. I showed this yesterday in my video, but just in case you didn't watch it, it's razor sharp. Razor sharp. The carbon steel that A.Wright uses is just fantastic. Fantastic. But a collection, here's what a collection is to me. I'm not one of those people that would get, say, a Barlow, and they want, 10 different versions of that Barlow in the one. That's not the way I collect. Now, it might be the way you collect, and there's nothing wrong with it. I've always said that this is just me talking about how I collect. I've tried to get as many different patterns from an A.Wright range that I can. And I have more than these, but I sort of had to keep a limit on it somewhere. So I'm going to show you the ones up the centre you can buy from the Sheffield shop. I really do recommend the famous Sheffield shop. Go there and see if they've got the pattern you want. And if they haven't, you can order it from them, and they'll do everything for you. They liaise, Jane and her staff liaise with Michael and Ashley Harrison to get knives that people have ordered, and they'll get them brought to the shop, and then they post them to you. It's a great way of ensuring that you get the knife. It might take a couple of weeks, because A.Wright, as you know, it's a small band. There's three of them work there in the shop, and they're making a huge quantity of knives, but it's three of them, and these are handmade Sheffield knives. And when I use the word handmade, I mean they're genuinely handmade. They're not like your cases, your GECs, which have handmade things about them, but they've gone away from that really traditional handmade knives. These are done, pinned, everything is done by hand. And it's the soul of the knife for me, and it's why I like them so much. Now, I do not get any of these. Well, I've never had them for free, but I did get this one because it was on Hiennie Haynes, and they wanted to publicise it for Hiennie Haynes. So I've got that one for free. Everything else are all bought by me. I don't get the discounts on their basic ones. With Ashley, I sometimes get a discount, but I always let you know if I've got a little bit of a discount. But it's never a huge amount of discount, but it is discounted. So these are not knives I'm getting free. I'm talking about a collection that I built with my own money. And I want to go through some of the patterns that I think you would like, because we all like different things and we all have different uses for them. So I'm going to start with here's one. And I'm going to, you can get these at different places. Hiennie is one. This is a twisted assisted version. Now, this is the older type one. The new one has the twisted assisted logo on the tang. But this was in, what do you call it? Like a basket weave. Look at that. Isn't that just beautiful? Micarta, it's like a basket weave. I can't think of the blooming name of it at the minute. But it is beautiful. A stunning knife. Brass liners, carbon steel, just a true workhorse with a broader. And the thing that I like about our British bolsters is this broader back end to the knife. It really is lovely to get in your hand. You feel as if you're in direction. You're in control of it with your back two fingers. This is just holding on. So it's just such a beautiful knife. Really is my favourite working knife. And again, that's made by sold by Twisted Assisted on Hiennie, and they have different patterns. If you like that micarta, that's, you can get that on Hiennie. This one, if you want this one, this is on Hiennie at the moment with the red liners. And again, I hope there's going to be more patterns with the red liners. It gives it a nice little pop. This is $39.99. And this has got ebony on it. Ebony. $39.99. Red liners. Fantastic blade. So that's their Barlow with a clip point. And this is just a sheep's foot. And then this above it is the tackler, which is a new pattern that I just got last week. I'd never had the tackler before. But again, you can see it's a slight sway back, very slight, nice bulbous end on it where you get that lovely grip. I love that grip when my finger goes around it. And again, that's the control of the knife. This just points it in the direction for me. I love it. And this is a fantastic work knife with a Wharncliffe blade. So it starts further back and comes down slowly to the point. Them two are great for detailed work. This is an all-rounder. Good skinner if you wanted to use it for that, if you're doing small game. And then here's one, and this is in their basic stag. Now, there's nothing wrong with this. I love this. It's more of a grey, beige, nearly black, some parts of it. But it is beautiful, and it's completely different from, say, the higher end stag, which comes in that colour there. I love them both in equal measures. I really think this just goes with a steel blade. I think it is just beautiful. And this is the large pen or spear. And it's just a super all-round knife that will do just a bit of everything. It's got a small belly, long straight. It's got a point. It'll do any job. Probably the most useful, I think, the spear of all blades. If you want to get down to detail work, the spear, I think, does so many jobs better than a lot of other knives. And then here's the lamb's foot, which is a favourite. This is an old one. This is what I'm saying. I mean, this cost £15 or £20. The lamb's foot is smaller at the front, wider at the back. That's a real traditional British pattern. I love the way this is decanted. So it's more for that work where you want to get down in your work and slice, whether it's leather, paper, talked about that. This one's just in plastic covers. And this is an older model from A.Wright. You can see the older tang stamp. Just an amazing knife to have in a collection. I love these knives. And then here's the weird one, as I call it, the Ettrick, which is a real old pattern. And this pattern has the Wharncliffe blade on it, and it's really built for these kind of cuts because it just wraps around your hand. It's a long blade, short, or a long handle, short blade for doing cuts if you're whittling or vegetables, anything you want to use this for. This is a great little small paring knife. Love it. Absolutely love it. And that's in that's in buffalo horn. So you've stag, plastic, wood, micarta. And again, here's another one in beautiful, beautiful wood. Look at that there. And this is the pruner, the small pruner. I tend to call all these blades small pruners. I know other people call them hawkbills and things like that. I just call them a pruner. I'm quite happy with that. But in olive wood, just beautiful little knife. And again, made specifically more for this kind of, if you're in the garden, you want to cut your leeks off at the bottom or whatever. It's just a perfect knife for the garden, I think. But again, could be used for whittling. Then you've got the larger. This is what I call a large pruner, and this has the flat butt, so it can stand up. I don't know whether there's any preference in doing that. I'm not a gardener as such, so I'm not sure. But this is a beautiful big knife. Again, meant for this position. So if you grab a handful of weeds or whatever and you want to get a whole clatter off them in one go. And that's why I call it a pruner, because that's the uses I can see for it. Grabbing a handful of weeds and just cutting them right off at the base. Something like that I would use that knife for. But to be honest with you, I bought this secondhand at a real budget price, and there was next to no use on it at all. A couple of little marks, but that's because it's carbon steel. And then this would be their higher end pattern. This one and this one are going to be much more expensive than these. This is nicely Harrison, but I don't have a basic Senator that's made by A.Wright. So the Senator pattern has the two square bolsters, one at either end, and it usually has a sheep's foot blade on it. And then when you get the one that's from A.Wright, it has a worked back. So you have a hand scribed up the center of the back spring, and then at the side of the brass liners, they will be decorated as well up, and it looks fantastic. In fact, I think I have one here. I'll just show you what the Senator looks like. I have one here. I've got the pattern that's up the back of it on another knife. There you go. It's going to be something like that. You see that? That's hand chased. The hammer and a chisel up the center, and then you have the file work up the brass liners. So that's the way this knife normally comes, and it's much more expensive for the time that it takes to make that knife. But you have that option. You can get the basic, or you can save up and get one of the really nice ones. And different blade materials. These are a super knife if you haven't got a big budget, but you want to have a lovely different range of materials. Because a lot of the times, with the more modern knives, you just get set in this pattern, I'll have all micarta, I'll have all that. With a traditional knife, you can have so many different patterns. And that's what makes a collection of these much more exciting to me. Much more exciting, because I have that range of patterns. And every handle feels different on the material that's on it. For me, I do like micarta, but I love wood and stag more, because the wood has always got that warm feeling. The stag has got that real gut feeling. It's a piece of an animal's. It's just, there's something about the stag I've really fallen in love. And I didn't start off a stag lover. Now I have quite a good collection of stag knives, which just please me no end. The buffalo horn, great. But I mean, this, I'm suggesting the A.Wright, if you're in the UK and you want to have a Sheffield handmade knife, a very rare thing other than custom makers, is getting a small factory. There's only 3 people in it at the moment. They work their tails off to get their knives out, and they're selling them at a price that most people can afford. And it's the sort of thing that once a month, £40, you can have a new knife every month. And that's the thing about it, is you're getting a new knife. It mightn't be a £300 knife, but this knife is as good as any in use. A super quality knife for a budget price. So I hope this has been interesting. I just want to let you see that, because we tend to just see the Barlows and a Sheepsfoot, but we don't see the other range that A.Wright does. Again, the best place I would go to get it is the famous Sheffield shop, which I'll put down below, and I'll put the telephone number. Jane and her staff are so helpful. Go over there, and if they haven't got any in stock, because they do keep a stock of knives, if they haven't got any in stock, you can order it there. And then forget about it. You order it, pay for it, and it'll come to you when it comes. The best way to start this sort of a collection. But I think you try Hiennie. They have a couple of different patterns in Hiennie at the minute, so get there and see what they're doing. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed looking at this little collection, because I get a buzz, a complete buzz when I see my collection. Now, again, this isn't all of them, sadly. This is just a selection of ones that I picked different blade shapes for you. So there you go. Get started. There's nothing to stop you getting a collection that you can be proud of, but also you can use. You can I know Matt Sawyer loves his pruners and that. He's a gardener, loves them. We all have different knives. I mean, Mikey is a, on the road engineer, and he uses all his A.Wrights at work. And, we all are different. We all are different. But there's something for everybody in this, and you can build a collection up of the ones you particularly like, and you'll get so much joy. So much joy. And if you're just beginning, this is the price range to get started with and get the patterns and find out which ones you really like. But in the meantime, you're building a great collection that is usable, useful, and pretty damn good to look at as well, in my eyes. So there you go. Take care. Paddy's away. Have a great day. Bye now.